in time, as you continue your contemplation of the self, these structures will start to crumble. They will start to become more and more transparent, less and less gripping. And then the smaller stuff will start to bug you. Because it's meant to be complete clarity, complete clarity.
Everything dissolves.
Yes, even the little stuff,
Nothing
your little
moves.
phobias, your little thing, yeah. And consciousness will poke you to help, in a way, to help dislodge some of these things. Will create situations quite amazing. You never expected them. But over time you've acquired the skills and you've acquired the depth of the love for truth. And that cannot be shaken by events, feelings, and emotions. You get bigger, you become grander than that.
So from that perspective, everything's grace then.
Yes, everything is grace. What they say, for the one who has eyes to see and ears to hear. But it's not grace. If you don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, then you are seeing, oh my God, what's happening to me? I didn't do anything to deserve this. I was a good guy or good girl, why is this happening to me, you see? Because you are trying to avoid, you see. You want to maintain your story. And so you argue with God, you say, hey, why are you doing this, Because you want to maintain yourself as a real entity, a real separate entity. And God all along is inviting you to come to realize your universal reality as the Godhead. But you argue with that, because maybe we like a little bit our stories.
I want a separate self that doesn't suffer. Thank you very much.
Yes.
He's got one. He's got one. Why can't I have one?
Right, exactly. What they say, the garden always is greener on the other side of the fence.
The grass
is greener on the other side of the fence. If you scratch, you find the veneer is shiny veneer. If you scratch a little bit, oh my God, we carry this image, we carry this image.
You drew a distinction once, I think on Facebook, between Maya and Leela.
Yes, I am not very well versed in the Sanskrit,
I know, neither am I, but
yeah.
I kind of got what you were getting at, I think.
There is this impression, sometimes people say, well, okay, if this me impression is obliterated, if I die as a me, then how can I wake up in the morning and make breakfast or take care of my kids or go to work or pay my mortgage? Because there is this belief that what does that is the person, that the person is needed in order to do that. This is a very, very commonly held belief. It's maybe I would say almost everybody holds this belief that I need to be a person in order to take care of my family and my kids and my parents, etc., and my house and my mortgage and my work. But in fact, all events are universal events. Because if you consider that anything that you do as a result of a thought. A thought arises, for example, I need to go to work or whatever. So you start, you start getting ready to go to work, or I need to get a promotion, or I need to find a job, or whatever. So your actions arise out of a thought. So an action is a thought in motion. But the thought comes to you. You don't think your thoughts. They arise to you. I often say, because if you thought your thoughts, if you think your thoughts, then you would think all happy thoughts. We would all agree that it would make sense for us to have all happy thoughts. So we would just choose happy thoughts and we'd be happy. But that's not the fact, So our thoughts are thought by the universe. They're universal thoughts. They're cosmic thoughts. Consciousness's thoughts. We perceive the thoughts, and our actions, therefore, what we do as a result of these thoughts. And this flow of thought continues. The fact that the impression of being a person is not there, that's just one belief structure that is not there. But there's still the thought of, I need to pay the mortgage, or I need to clean the house, or I need to water the garden, or I need to shut off the gas under the soup. It's been an hour, it's cooking, I should shut it off. It's going to be overcooked. So I always confuse Maya and Lila, but let's say that in Maya, and I'll stand to be corrected, there is action with the belief that I'm the doer. There's a personal doer. Or it may be Lila, I don't know.
I think Maya is the suffering one.
Is the suffering one. And Lila is this wakeful dream, this waking dream, including the night dream. It's the dream of consciousness, is Lila, the play of consciousness. And part of the play of consciousness, I would say the apogee of the play of consciousness, is the revelation of the self. Is the revelation of the true self, what I am truly, which is the peace and the happiness.
Isn't Maya the curve at the top of the dream and sleep and it's just in that symbol, suffering,
yes,
to symbolize
the symbol, the Om symbol.
The Om symbol.
Interesting, yeah.
I believe that's
I didn't come from an Indian tradition. My background was different. So it's only recently that I started coming upon these.
I have the symbol to get on the, what do you call it? Not Skype, how do we do it? What's the name of that?
The Hangout? Right?
Hangout. Yeah. So I have that symbol, so I had to look it up because I really enjoyed it. When I found it, I enjoyed it. So I looked for one.
Yes.
And it has meaning for me. It's so great.
Beautiful.
Visual for me.
Yes.
And so I said, well, maybe I ought to learn about it a little bit. And that's true.
In the symbols that symbolize consciousness, or the reality of the self, there is the It's like, let's say, the vibration of the self. Same thing in the sounds, like in the mantras. In the mantras there is the vibration of the self, of consciousness. There are images, images that portray the divine. And there are also objects, art forms that are inspired by divine inspiration. And they glow, there is a glow in them of the divinity of the self, of the wholeness of being.
Just curious, so would you say that free will then is an illusion?
It depends who the willer is. If the free will, you're referring to the free will of an individual, of a person, or if you're talking about the free will of the self, of consciousness. So the free will of an illusory character is an illusory free will. The free will of reality is the true free will. So one could say that consciousness's dream arises out of consciousness, out of its freedom, out of the freedom of the self, and out of the creative freedom of the self. So galaxies and tornadoes and rainbows and the animal kingdom, the human kingdom, all of these creative forms arise out of the creative freedom of consciousness, the creative freedom of the self. Our night dreams, all what appears in the night dreams, arises out of the creative and the freedom and the endless, unlimited potential of consciousness. Now, we usually refer to free will of the individual, my free will as a person, versus your free will and your free will, etc. In order to ascertain whether the free will of an individual is a real free will or not a real free will, we have to find out if the individual is real, right? Because after all, it's the free will of the individual. So right here, right now, you're sitting here. Let's say that you are an individual. You're a person. You're a male. You're a man. So we're talking about the free will of this man, of this person, of this individual. Now the question is, before we move forward with that question, with the answer to that question, let's look at whether it is indeed true that you are a man, that you are a person. That is the primary question. And if we do ascertain that that is true, then we can look at the next question, which is, then what is your free will as a person? So the way we look at this question is by you turning your attention to your experience. So turning your attention to your experience is different from turning your attention to what you've learned, to your beliefs, to your library of beliefs and thoughts. Because turning your attention to experience is not in time, it's in the directness of presence. So it's directly right now, in this very moment, you turn your attention to your experience. And in your experience right now, we ask ourselves, am I a man? Am I a woman? And the answer that arises is, this is a male body. And there is or this is a female body, depending on who's looking. And you say, okay, we agree on that I am perceiving a male body. The next question is, am I this male body that I perceive? It's a good question, because if the answer to this question is yes, without any doubt, then I am this male body. So the question is there any doubt that I am this male body that I perceive? I'm perceiving a male body. Am I this male body? Before we answer this question, we look at, okay, I also perceive these glasses. Okay, there is no doubt that I perceive these glasses. The question is, am I these glasses? And the answer is, well, no. I am not these glasses. I am that perceives these glasses. Then we can turn our attention to my shoes, if I have any shoes. Say, well, I perceive leather shoes, or I perceive sneakers. Am I the sneakers that I perceive? And the answer is no. I am not the shoes, whether they're leather shoes or sneakers. I am not what I perceive. Then we wonder, wait a minute, how come I hold this belief that I am this male body that I perceive? It's a good question. It's a good question. Then the answer is, well, because I feel that I am this male body. So it's not, I don't feel that I am these glasses. So the proof that I am this male body is not only because I perceive a male body, but also I feel like I'm a male body. Okay? Say, okay, well, wait a minute, let's look at that. Let's say you bump your head, you're walking, you bump your head, and now you feel that you're a butterfly. It can happen. I mean, God forbid, but it can happen. For a moment you feel you're a butterfly. Okay? Now, are you a butterfly because you feel you're a butterfly? Or in your night dream, sometimes you dream that you feel like you're a bird. You actually feel like you're a bird. Does it mean that you feel that you are a bird, irrespective of the fact that you feel that you're a bird? And our feelings change. Sometimes we feel, our feelings change about, and they are so diverse. The other thing is, we don't always feel that we're a body. When you were 2 years old, you did not feel you were a body. Okay, maybe at 2. Okay, how about 1 year old? At some point before those feelings developed, there was no feeling that I was a body, right? So that feeling was added on, but you still were. I mean, you existed at 2 years old or at 1 year old, but without that feeling that you're a man. That came later. So that poses some questions, that poking holes, it's poking holes in this belief that I am a male. Now, then, next thing we look at is, well, any feeling that arises, like the feeling that I'm a male, there is something that perceives this feeling. There is an awareness of the feeling. Because if there was no awareness of the feeling, there won't be the feeling. If you have a toothache without awareness of your toothache, what are you talking about? So any feeling or any sensation that arises has to have awareness. And this awareness is I. I'm aware of the feeling. Yes? So, which I am I? Am I the I that is aware, meaning I of awareness? or am I the feeling that I'm a male? You see, when you start looking at it that way, the whole premise of being a person, and therefore the next question about personal will, free will of a person, all of that is no longer standing on its two legs.
Yes, I understand that. Yeah. Where I was kind of going with my question, I guess, was I think one of this egoic sense of self as you go along the path gets the way it kind of disguises itself in more and more subtle ways.
Mm-hmm.
And something I noticed within myself, in my own journey, is this sense that I have some responsibility or some role to play in my awakening.
Yes.
There's something I have to do.
Yes.
In order to
Now that
find liberation.
That I is not the I person. That's the I that now rising. There is a recognition of the true I. Now it's arising. It's arising. Yeah, I need to really look into these questions. We need to contemplate, all these beliefs and living the life that follows these beliefs, because we live according to our beliefs, meaning according to our thoughts. We need to take a look at that. So that I, that's not the personal I. Yes, and you are correct about that. There is a responsibility which is responding, which is a correct response to the gift that was been given to you. The gift that's been given to you is this insight into, what am I? Wait a minute. Somehow, at some point in time, some questions arose to you, some circumstances happened in your life that started to sort of cook the meal. It started to sort of, it started to prep the meal. And now, there's a gift from consciousness. And yes, when it is a gift from consciousness, then the self, the true self, arises. And now there is a question. What is it that's responding? It's always when you are contemplating the self, when you say, yes, it's the true self that's arising. When you say, I don't know how I'm doing, I don't know if it's going to get me anything, that's the personal. I don't know if it's, I've been doing it for 5, 10 years, 20 years, and I'm not getting anywhere. That's back to the personal self-impression. And we vacillate between the self and the me story, the me impression. We vacillate. And this vacillation throughout our contemplation, as we continue our contemplation, diminishes. We vacillate less and less, less and less, less and less, less and less. And at some point, there is just barely any vacillation. So that's the process. So the free will that you just brought up is the free will of the self, of consciousness. Consciousness loves to hide from itself and then arises back in, peekaboo, here I am. Loves to do that. And now it's doing that. It's revealing itself. It wants to reveal itself. It's more interested in the truth, the true freedom. Not the freedom that is based on some circumstances, situations, or conditions. Not the happiness that depends on relationship or money or God knows. It's consciously interested now in the true freedom, which has to be unconditional.